Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you my eyeshadow palette collection. I'm going to be telling you which ones are my favorites, which ones didn't work for me. Yeah, pretty much that's what today's video is going to be. So go ahead and keep on watching. The first palette I've ever purchased is the Jaclyn Hill palette. This is my first ever palette that I ever purchased ever. You can tell when I open it, it's so crusty. But this is honestly, I would say like a palette that anyone can use. It's such a go-to palette, so I do recommend getting this palette. The eyeshadows are creamy, they blend super good. So this one is one of my favorite palettes. I think the second palettes I've ever purchased were the Vogue collection from Jaclyn Hill. As soon as these dropped, I was like, girl, I'm gonna go buy these. When she said that she was dropping these, I went straight to Ulta the first day they were there and I bought all 4 of them. So these were the second ones I purchased. I would say that these are hit or miss depending on which ones you get, depending on which ones are formulated. Honestly, some of the shades in these are really not that great. So like, for example, the one from Armed and Gorgeous. So the green shade in this one is like really horrible to blend out. But the rest of the shades in here are good. So they're nice to blend out. They're super blendable. The green shade is super patchy. The Bling Boss palette, I would say some of the shades are super patchy. Some of them are not. This is how they look. The Ring the Alarm palette was actually really good for me. I didn't find any problems with this palette. This palette was beautiful. All the shades blended nice. And then the Dark Magic palette. I feel like this palette was the palette that had the most trouble because it was a lot of cool tone colors and a lot of blues and greens. So I feel like this palette had the most trouble. But the black shade in this palette is amazing. I honestly haven't used this palette in a while. And I kind of miss using that black shade, so I might do a look with this. It's a little dirty, but this is what it looks like inside. So like, these 2 shades right here were pretty patchy. This cool tone was pretty patchy. But other than that, I mean, I still love these palettes. I feel like for $15, that's like a steal. So those were the second palettes I've ever purchased. What's the third? So the Morphe 35OM. So this one is a matte palette, which looks like this. It's like all warm tone shades, some cool tones. So it's a nice palette if all you wear is like typical neutral shades. So this is a cute palette. And then it does so this one's the 35OS, so pretty much this palette does correlate to the 35OM. So this is this palette. It's like all sparkly shades. None of the shades in here are matte. These are all shimmer shades. So this is really cute. I was so happy when I got this palette. You have no idea. When I got both of these palettes, it was such a good gift, honestly. Yeah, so I would say these palettes are actually really good too. If you are someone that only likes neutral shades, I do recommend getting these palettes. I think they're super affordable, especially for what you get inside. So yeah, these are really good. The next thing I'm gonna show you is James Charles Morphe palette. When I saw he was launching this palette, as soon as I seen the shades in here, I was obsessed with them. They're just so beautiful. I feel like you can do anything with this palette, which is why I love this palette. I feel like everyone knows how this palette looks like, but this is it if you want to see it. Yeah, so this palette, as soon as I seen it drop, I was like, ooh, I have to get that palette. And I do recommend getting this palette. Honestly, you could get this palette alone and be fine. So this is definitely a palette I would go for. The next palettes I would say I got the Juvia's Place palettes. Now one of them is broken, so it's going to be a little hard to show you because it's like kind of all over the place and I haven't cleaned it yet. But, oh no. So it's this palette right here. This pink shade unfortunately broke because I dropped the palette and I was so sad because it was so pretty. But this palette is gorgeous. And Juvia's Place palettes are actually really good and pigmented. And they blend out really easy, so I love this palette. I love every single shade in this palette. I think this palette was $20, so it's a little bit more pricey, but it's still really good. The next palette I got was the Juvia's Place. This one's the this one's Afrique, and this one is the Zulu palette. Now this palette I bought because, okay, so the main reason why I bought this palette was for the blue, green, and yellow shade. So the blue, the green, and the yellow were like the main reasons why I got this palette. But it's super cute, super affordable, so I do recommend going out and buying this. I just love Juvia's Place. I'm hoping to expand more of their palettes and get more of their products. What I got is the Warrior palette by Juvia's Place. This is a nice warm tone palette. So this is what the palette looks like. This is a nice neutral palette. So if you're someone that only likes neutral shades, this palette is super cute, super bronzy. So I do like this one, and it blends out beautifully as well. So yeah, this is my third Juvia's Place palette. These are the only palettes I have by Juvia's Place. But like I said, I'm hoping to get more from them. The next palette I got was the Daisy Marquez palette from BH Cosmetics. Actually, no. Before the Daisy Marquez palette, I actually got the Take Me to Brazil palette from BH Cosmetics. I feel like this is a go-to for a lot of people, like a lot of people that do makeup, which looks like this. This is a nice, affordable rainbow palette. So if you're looking for something that has more rainbow colors, this one is actually really good. So yeah, this is the BH Cosmetics one. I would say some of these shades are a little patchy as opposed to other shades, but it's still pretty good for the price. I think it's only like $18. So yeah, this is the next palette. Okay, so the next palette I got is the Daisy Marquez palette from BH Cosmetics. This palette is super cute. I mean, honestly, I wasn't going to get this palette because I already have a lot of these shades, but I bought it because I support Daisy Marquez and I love her. So I got the palette anyways. Plus, I really like the concept of her palette. Don't judge my palette because it's dirty, because when I bought it, I did start using it a lot. But this is what the shades look like. I did get a little bit of glue on the yellow shade, unfortunately, but it still works really, really good. It's really, really cute colors. So I do like this palette. Plus, I like the fact that you can so it comes with a little top, and it's a mirror. So you can put this like this, and it turns into a little vanity. So it's super cute. I think this palette was only like, honestly, I forgot how much this palette was, but it's still pretty affordable. So if you're looking for something like this, I would go out and get it. It's actually a really good palette, and the shades blend out really, really beautifully. So I really love the concept of this palette, and I love Daisy, so I got this palette. The next palette I would say I purchased was the ABH Alyssa Edwards palette. Well, no. Okay, I'm like totally going out of order. The next palette I did purchase is the Sultry palette from Anastasia. This palette went on sale at my job, and I work at Sephora. For those of you who don't know, I do work at Sephora. So I did get a discount on top of this being on sale. So I was like, ooh, let me get that palette. And it's actually a really pretty palette. Very good neutrals in here. So if you're someone that's going for something more neutral, something more glamorous, this is going to be your glam palette. So I did get this palette. It's actually really pigmented. And really good shades in here, so I do recommend going out and getting this if they still have it available. I think she has it online still on her website, so I would go out and get this palette. So yeah, that's this one. This palette I would say I purchased is the Modern Renaissance palette. This one is like beat up inside as well. Oh no, actually no, it's not beat up inside. This is what it looks like. It's just a little bit dirty, but this is what the Modern Renaissance palette looks like. This is a really good summery palette if you're looking for something more summery. This palette I feel like will never leave her shelves. So I do like this palette. It does blend out really pretty. So yeah, that's this palette. The next palette I got is the Subculture palette. This palette is, a lot of people say they hate it. A lot of people say they like it. I feel like it just depends on you. I would say it's alright. It's not like super, super bad. I would say that the shades are deceiving. So they swatch differently as opposed to what they look like in the pan. Like this green shade came out super dark. When I swatched it, I was like, that's not what it looks like in the pan. But it's still really good. They still blend out pretty nicely. I feel like it's just a little bit harder to work with, which it shouldn't be, for a palette that costs $45. But I still really like it. I still use it here and there. So this is the Subculture. The next palette that I have is the KKW Beauty times Mario palette, which looks like this. And it's really cute. I mean, the shades are really nice. My favorite shade obviously is going to be the blue one. I'm someone that loves color, so that's my favorite shade in this palette. But this palette is very, very blendable, very easy to use. And if you're someone that wants neutral shades with a pop of color, then that's the palette for you. I do like the way it blends out. Super good palette. It's a little pricey, but it's Kim K, so. The next palette I have is the Alyssa Edwards palette. This palette I got mainly for the blue and the yellow shade and the white shade, but other than that, the palette is amazing throughout all the colors in this palette. It's one of my favorite palettes so far, besides the Morphe Jacqueline and the Morphe James. This is such a good palette, and it's so beautiful. If you're someone that loves color, if you're someone that loves shimmer, this is going to be something for you. So I do love this palette. I do recommend it. Plus the packaging is super cute. You can put this on your vanity if you have a vanity, and it'll look super cute just sitting on top of your vanity. So yeah, those are all the palettes that I have. I'm hoping to obviously expand my palettes, try out new palettes. I want to try different palettes, review them, so stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for many more reviews. I feel like working at Sephora now makes it a little bit easier to do that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. In the future, I will definitely have a lot more reviews, a lot more palettes for you guys to see. So keep on watching, stay tuned for my journey, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye.